is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one?
Just, wow. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. What you just saw is the perfect snapshot of what is wrong with our entire political debate right now. It's all right there. You have one side, represented by Jasmine Crockett, who is emotional, loud, and demanding that you agree with her specific set of facts. And if you don't, you're portrayed as some kind of crazy, anti-American conspiracy theorist. But then you have the other side, represented by Chairman Jim Jordan, who is trying to talk about something so much bigger, so much more fundamental, your actual, God-given First Amendment right to have the debate in the first place. This whole hearing isn't about whether Russia invaded Ukraine. This is about who gets to be the referee. Who gets to decide what is fact and what is misinformation. We're going to watch the whole thing, and I'm going to break down how one side is fighting for the Constitution, and the other side is, frankly, fighting for censorship. If you believe in the First Amendment, if you believe you are smart enough to figure things out for yourself without some government expert telling you what to think, hit that subscribe button right now and share this video. We have to get the word out on this. All right, let's watch the full exchange.
Write the language that's true, and you want to add in this other language. The proper place for this, as I've said again multiple times, is to put it in the minority views, which will be part of the oversight plan. But for some reason, that doesn't seem to be good enough for the minority.
Will the chairman yield?
Yeah, sure.
Just to pursue this point for a moment, this claim that this was fact-checking, wasn't this a suppression of New York Post reporting on the genuineness of the Hunter Biden laptop, which included the most incriminating evidence against a president involving family influence peddling that I think has ever been produced, and it turned out to be true. So what they were actually doing was suppressing facts, not checking them.
Suppressing facts and doing violation to the First Amendment and free speech rights of Americans. Who seeks recognition? Gentlelady, Ms. Crockett is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. It's so interesting to me that we all swear an oath to the Constitution, and we say that we take that oath seriously, but when it comes into actually doing something that looks like preserving that oath or looks like preserving the Constitution, we get a little wobbly, and I'm not really understanding what's going on. Freedom of press doesn't look like kicking out the Washington Post, or actually the Huffington Post has been kicked out. We know that the Associated Press has been kicked out, and now the Washington Post is not going to allow for op-eds in any way if for some reason they criticize the sitting president of the United States. What this is starting to feel like is a smaller version of Russia. And I am trying to tell you that we are nothing like Russia. We are not supposed to be like Russia, but that is what we've got going on. And I'm sorry, I know that some of my colleagues still struggle with answering the question of who won the election in 2020. And you may have felt a way when you had social media checking people and saying, no, Trump did not win the election in 2020. That is absolutely factual. And unfortunately, because some people got all riled up because they believed the lies, they ended up getting locked up because they decided that they were going to believe the lies. They ended up at the Capitol on January 6th, and they were trying to tear this thing apart because they felt like their country was falling apart in front of their eyes because for whatever reason, there were people in power that were peddling a lie about the election. We also know, and some of y'all may still say that COVID was a hoax. COVID wasn't a hoax. Tell that to the over 1 million people that died under Donald Trump's first watch. It wasn't a hoax. So no, I do believe that it was okay. In fact, I do believe that it was ethically right for social media to check people because you had people that didn't know anything about science and decided that they were going to put out whatever lies or propaganda or conspiracy theories they wanted to. And people died. At some point in time, we have to evaluate what is factual. And I know that facts hurt y'all, and I just wish we could get on the same page, but we do know during the presidential election that the president would not go and participate in anything if fact-checking was going to be a part of it, because he didn't want to be fact-checked. We know that the vice president got upset in his vice presidential debate when he was fact-checked. It used to be a time in this country that we as members of Congress or elected officials thought that it was okay to just tell the truth. Instead, we're pushing conspiracy theories, and some of them are killing people. It's the same thing that we have coming out of Doge. It's the reason that people are dying. It's the reason that farmers are losing their farms, because we continue to peddle conspiracy theories. It is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter. Y'all, this is literally potentially putting us into an international crisis. We may be heading towards the next world war because we have a president that wants to pal around with Putin and wants to do everything to make him feel good, including lying about who invaded who. Mr. Chair, I got a minute left, but I really want to yield to any of my colleagues and ask them if they will say today, very basically, that when it came down to the war in Ukraine, that it was not Ukraine that invaded Russia, it was the other way around. Is there anybody in here that has enough courage to say that Russia invaded Ukraine?
You can have my time.
And this is yet the problem. This is the problem. That is not infringing upon free speech.
Will the gentlelady yield?
The time of the gentlelady has expired. The gentleman from California is recognized.
I'd yield to the chairman.
I just wanted to make a point. We talked, gentlelady, previous speaker talked about factual information. We've talked about fact-checking. Fact-checking. You know what fact-checking is truly supposed to be in this country? The First Amendment. Not some expert who can sit on and look at posts and tweets and different things and say, oh, that's not factual, take it down. That's not how it works. Fact-checking is the First Amendment. Someone says something stupid, and that happens every day in this Congress. Someone says something crazy. Someone says something that's not quite true, not quite accurate. You know what the fact check is? Someone says something else, and you have debate. That's what we do in this committee every day. And this is the committee who's supposed to protect that fundamental fact. Real fact-checking is the First Amendment. Our Supreme Court has been clear about that. You don't like certain speech, the best speech for wrong speech is more speech. The best speech for false speech is true speech. That's how it works. You have a debate, and you trust we, the people, to figure it out, not some expert who's going to fact-check every tweet, every post, and we saw this in the Biden administration. We're seeing it in Europe now. We're seeing it in Brazil. That was the first bill we dealt with from the gentleman from California, his good legislation that we all agreed on. We're going to work on and put a good bill on the floor. So that's the key. That's what and we know it happened because, again, we had the guy who runs one of the biggest companies in the world, most successful tech companies in the world, tell us it happened. We had on the third day of the Biden administration an email from the White House to Twitter saying, take down this tweet ASAP. The government telling a business to take down a tweet, and the tweet, ironically, was from RFK Jr., who was going to be running for president against the guy in the White House. So he was saying, take down the speech of my opponent. That's not how it's supposed to work in this country. That's what we're concerned about. That's why it's in our oversight plan. And if you want additional things to look at, again, put them in your viewpoints. We're happy to accept them. We'll take everything Mr. Raskin has said today, everything the gentlelady from Texas has said today. We'll take everything the Democrats said. You want to put all that in your plan? Put it in your plan. That's fine. That's how it works. But no, that's not good enough. That's not good enough.
Okay, let's get into this. That entire video is a perfect battle between emotion and principle. And honestly, it is infuriating to watch. Let's start with Representative Crockett because her argument is it's unbelievable. She is passionate, I will give her that. But what is she actually arguing for? She's sitting there, listing off her facts, the 2020 election, COVID, the war in Ukraine. And her core argument is that because she and her side know the truth, they were not only right, but they were justified in having social media companies censor and shut down anyone who disagreed. Did you catch that? She is openly defending the censorship. She is making the case for the fact-checkers. She is the expert telling you, the unwashed masses, what you're allowed to believe. And the hypocrisy is just off the charts. She has the nerve to sit there and say, "Oh, this is starting to feel like Russia," while in the same breath advocating for the exact system that Russia uses, a system where the state, or experts approved by the state, get to silence dissent, deplatform people, and declare what the truth is. She is literally proving Jim Jordan's entire point for him, and is so blinded by her own self-righteousness that she can't even see it. Her "I dare you to say Russia invaded Ukraine," is a complete political stunt. It's a straw man. Nobody on that panel is arguing about the geography of the war. The real argument, is about whether the Biden administration should be allowed to secretly call up Twitter and Facebook and say, "Hey, that post is misinformation, take it down." She's talking about a topic. Jordan is talking about your rights. And that brings me to Jim Jordan. This is why he's the chairman. He's not getting red in the face. He's not demanding she agree with his facts. He is making a calm, logical, and fundamental constitutional argument. His point is brilliant. The First Amendment is the fact-checker. He's saying you let people speak. You let the person you hate speak. You let the person you disagree with speak. And then we, the people, not a panel of experts in Silicon Valley, not a task force in the White House, we, the people, get to hear all sides, have the debate, and figure it out. He calls it more speech, not less speech. That is the American way. That is what this country was founded on. Crockett and Raskin are literally arguing for a ministry of truth. Jim Jordan is arguing for the Constitution. And the best part, Jordan brings the receipts. He brings the smoking gun. He points out that on day 3 of the Biden administration, not a year in, not 6 months, 3 days, the White House was already emailing Twitter to say, and I quote, "Take down this tweet ASAP." And whose tweet was it? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. TOS. Think about that. The brand new administration is immediately using the power of the federal government to silence a citizen. It doesn't matter if you love RFK Jr. or hate him. It doesn't matter if you think that tweet was true or false. The government was colluding with big tech to silence a political opponent. That is what Jordan is talking about. That is the weaponization of government. It's not a theory. He has the email. He's talking about a hard fact. And what is Representative Crockett's response to that fact? To deflect and yell about Russia. So this is the choice we're all watching in real time. Do you want Jasmine Crockett's America, where a small group of angry politicians and their experts get to decide what you are allowed to see, hear, and say, all in the name of protecting you from misinformation? Or do you want Jim Jordan's America, where we, the people, are treated like adults, where we have the right to hear all sides, and where the First Amendment, not the government, is the ultimate fact-checker? Crockett is arguing for censorship. Jordan is arguing for freedom. It really is that simple. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who do you think actually won this debate? The person demanding you agree with her, or the person demanding you have the right to disagree? I know exactly where I stand. Thanks for watching.